What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Marcus, aka Mr. Naughty Fit, and I'm so glad to have you guys on the episode of In Between Setz podcast. Now, a little bit about this podcast, man. If this is your first time listening, this is your first time seeing this podcast, keep an open mind. We talk about any and everything. It doesn't really necessarily have to be about fitness. It could be about fitness. It could be about life. It could be about jobs. It could be about anything that happens in between sets. Because I named it that because when you're in between sets, your mind goes everywhere. Now, for those of you who work out, you guys know between that minute or 30 seconds, however long you take to rest, your mind could be thinking about what you're going to eat later on that night. Your mind could be thinking about what movie you're going to catch on Netflix. Anything can happen, right? So that's what In Between Sets podcast is all about. So without further ado, welcome one and all to In Between Sets. This is a podcast where we bridge the gap between training, mindset, and the realities of life. Today, we're going to be talking about that fire that burns inside of you, that burns inside of all of us, right? That fire that makes you push harder, that fire that drives you, that makes you show up every single day, regardless of the situations that's happening. That fire that's inside of you that continues to burn whenever that motivation fire kind of dwindles down, right? But here's the thing. What happens when those things, like those life events happen or things don't go as planned? What do? You know what I'm saying? What happens whenever life throws that unexpected debris your way? What if you lose your job? You lose your girl, you lose your man, you know what I'm saying? You go through family struggles. What happens to that fire? Well, I want to let you know that fire inside of you, it does not discriminate. Whether it's clean wood or it's just random debris that's around, if you guys ever been camping, if it can burn, then it's going to keep you going. And today we're going to dive deep into how to adjust to life situations, good or bad, and use that as fuel to keep you going. Let's get into it. So the way I see it, your fire represents your purpose, your passion, your drive, whether it's fitness or business or just life in general. We all have something that keeps us going. Now, ideally, we're fueling that fire with consistent fuel, such as discipline. You're fueling that fire with hard work. You're fueling the fire with planning, with execution. But life doesn't always give us a perfect condition. And that's where the debris come in. Debris are unexpected, unplanned, things that we don't necessarily want, but still have to deal with it. Think about it. A breakup that shakes your confidence, a fitness setback, you plateau, injury, or losing motivation, a job loss or financial struggle that forces you to rethink your path. Here's where most people go wrong, right? They see debris as something that's ruining the fire. But in reality, the debris can burn just as hot if you know how to use it. So here's the mindset shift. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? What's going on? Like, why me? Start shifting it to start asking, how can I use this? Right? You got to shift. You got to have that mental shift to keep that fire going. It's all about perspective. Whether you're looking at the square from this angle or you're looking at the square from that angle, it's all about how you look at that situation and how you're going to attack that situation. So how do we actually turn these life events into fuel? Well, number one, you got to change how you see the debris. Just like I said, you got to change that perspective. You have two choices. When something unexpected happens, is it going to smother you or are you going to use it as fuel? Every setback carries an opportunity to grow stronger, more discipline, more focus. For example, I know people who started their fitness journey not because they wanted to, but because they were going through something painful. They were struggling with something, a loss, a heartbreak. You know, that pain, that became their fuel. Instead of letting that pain bog them down, they used it as fuel. They added that debris to the fire to keep them going. Number two, You got to shift your energy from reaction to action. A lot of people stay stuck in that reaction mode, complaining, feeling sorry for themselves, waiting for something to change. But successful people, they turn that reaction into action. I want you to think about a time when you got hit with something like you just unexpected. You're going through life. You're like, okay, boom, I'm about to go do I'm about to go do that. Right? You had that motion going, and then boom, something hits you, right? Maybe it was a time when you felt a setback, but then later realized it actually pushed you forward. Maybe it was an injury that forced you to train even smarter, to train harder that next go around, or a personalized loss that made you go harder than ever. I know for me, there was a time where I was going through a period of loss. I was going through a period of struggle. It was actually around the time that I actually started my fitness journey. I was going through some stuff. I was about a buck 50, a little skinny thing, just walking around campus, right? And my roommate, he was like, hey, let's go to the gym. At the time, I was, I was into trouble. I was going here, there. You know what I'm saying? Those of you who've been in college, you guys know the gist, right? Staying up late, trying to get to class early, not really doing the right stuff, right? So he invited me to the gym. And mind you, this dude, swole dude, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to whatever you gotta say, and we're gonna see what happens, right? So boom, we started working out. It started going from 1 week or once a week. Then we started working out about twice a week. Then we moved and graduated all the way up to where every time I went to the gym, up to 5 times a week, I was working out with this man. Why? Because I looked at where he was and he was where I wanted to be. I wanted that muscle. I wanted that confidence. I wanted to feel like I had some kind of purpose, some kind of drive in order to wake up every single day and continue to be better, to continue to pour into myself, right? So if you look for it, you'll see every hard moment has a potential to ignite something inside of you. If it wasn't for what I was going through back then, I probably would have been like, if everything was going good and he asked me, hey, come to the gym with me. You want to work out? I would be like, another time. But it was because of those hard situations. It was because of that hard time that I was going through that fueled me to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go. Right? It changed the whole entire trajectory of my life just by that one decision, just by that one time in my life. Right? Number 3, keep that fire burning, even if it's just embers. Them little sparks, the little fire. Even if it's just that little tiny spark, keep that thing going. Blow on it, give it oxygen, throw some more debris on there. Use those debris to fuel that, to make that fire grow. Right? So here's the truth. There will be days when you don't feel motivated, and that's normal. That happens to all of us. But there's a difference between winners and everyone else. Yeah, I know you guys heard of the saying, winners win, losers lose, right? You got to choose whether you're going to be a winner or you're going to be a loser. Point blank simple. Winners keep that fire going, no matter how small the flame is. Even if you can't go 100%, can you still show up to some capacity? Even if you can't go 100% in that workout, even if you're not feeling it, are you still going to show up? Are you still going to go through the motions? Are you still going to go through that workout? Because I've never ever in my life of working out, in my whole entire fitness journey, have met a person that said that they didn't feel like going to the gym, but they went anyways and came out worse than when they went inside. They always came out either feeling better, regardless of even if it was a shitty workout or if they didn't go 100%, they still came out and said, you know what, I did it. I showed up even when I didn't feel like it. I feel a little bit better. It might not fix the whole entire situation, but they always come out better. They always come out on a more positive note than when they came in. Can you train around an injury? Can you focus on nutrition when the gym feels impossible? Can you double down on mental strength when life feels chaotic? The key isn't having perfect fuel. The key is to keep the flame alive. Point blank, period. Just keep it alive. Whatever you got to do, just keep that flame going. Don't let it die out. Because once it dies out, Now you got to start up another fire. And if for those of you who have been going to camping or haven't went camping before, you guys know the struggles that comes with trying to get a fire going, to try and get a fire started. It's harder to get that fire started once it goes out, because now you got to find more wood. You got to find some different debris to try and get it going. You got to blow on it. You got to fan it. So in order to avoid all that extra stuff, just keep that flame going. No matter what you got to do, keep that flame going. Let me ask you this. What's one life event that at some point in time felt like it was breaking you, but actually pushed you forward? Like, take a moment. Just think about that for a second. All right. Now, before we wrap this up, let's talk about the mindset and how to keep this fire going on long term. Number one, you got to recognize that fire evolves. The fuel that worked for you a year ago may not work for you now. It may not be the same, and that's okay. You just got to adjust to the game. If you were working out and you're doing five days a week, 6 days a week, putting in those 3 hours, you know what I'm saying? You was going that hard. Now, years down the line, you maybe got a little older, or you stopped, and then now you're trying to get back into it, or you got a job, you got responsibilities, you don't got that free time to put in them 3 hours 5 to 6 times a week. You can always adjust it. Maybe drop it down to 1 hour, maybe drop it down to even 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Start off slow and then work your way. Do what works for you, because what works for somebody else, or what works for you a while back, may not work for you again. So it's always good to adjust. Number two, learn how to use new sources of fuel. What do I mean by that? Hard times is going to build resilience, and resilience builds results. So whenever you're going through stuff and now a new event happens, don't think of it as, oh man, get all bummed out. Oh man, every time I try to open one door, another one closed. Nah, man, throw that out the window. Anytime a new situation, a new event happens to where it kind of shifts you, it kind of knocks you off your pivot, you got to look at it. It's okay to take a step back, to sit down real quick and analyze, okay, this is happening, how it's making me feel. Okay, boom. What can I do about it? Okay, boom. Now you start using new situations, new fuel, new debris, and you adding it to that fire to keep it going, right? Number three, you got to surround yourself with other flames. Now, I know you guys have seen that analogy where you have two lighters, right? And you press the gas on one and you have one flame, right? One does not have a flame. You put it close to it, boom, you got a flame, right? That's what I mean. Surround yourself with other people who got that fire going whenever yours is going low, or whenever you don't have that flame at all. There's a saying that I know you guys have heard, that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, right? So if you hanging around with people, they flame is high, they got motion, they doing this and that and the third, and you hanging around with them on a consistent basis, your fire gonna start up. You don't even gotta do, well, you do gotta do something, but what I'm saying is you don't have to do much for your fire to get ignited, for that fire to build up inside of you. It only takes that spark to start that fire. But if you're hanging around with people, or lighters in the sense that are wet, that don't really have that fire going for them, and you hanging around with them on a consistent basis, do you really think your fire is going to start up? Do you really think that fire inside of you is going to start up when they're too busy going to parties, when they're too busy going out, wasting money, not pouring into themselves, not investing into themselves, not making themselves better? Do you really think that you are going to evolve into a better person? No, it don't work like that. Because if it did, everybody would be doing it. And everybody who parties and does all this and that and the third. I'm not saying partying is bad, but I'm saying people who are not investing in their better self, who's not trying to reach their optimal self in fitness or in business or whatever it is. If you're hanging around with them, you're gonna become just like them. And that's just facts. At the end of the day, your story isn't just about the smooth parts. The fire you build from debris will be stronger than the one that is under a perfect condition. You want to know why? Because when it's in perfect condition, it just takes one little gust of wind to take that fire out. But if you got, some wood, you got some paper in there, you got some leaves, you know what I'm saying? You have all these things that can catch fire. When that wind blows, boom, it blows on the debris, it blows on the leaf, boom, that starts to fire up again. That keeps it going. It blows another way, right? It hits the paper, it blows another way. You done put a shirt in there. Now that shirt's starting to catch fire. You know what I'm saying? So you got to use different types of debris to fuel that fire, to give that fire that flame long term. All right. And it's going to be stronger than the flame that's under perfect condition, that does not have no debris in it. That's just straight wood. Because once that wood burns out, or a gust of wind or rain hits that, it's all done for. So my challenge to you, to everybody who's watching this week, when life throws you something unexpected, instead of resisting it, find a way to use it. Maybe it's a long day that tests your discipline. Maybe it's a loss that forces you to level up. Whatever it is, take it, throw it in the fire. Let that motherfucker burn, baby. If this episode resonated with you, if this touched you, if you were watching this episode and you're like, yo, Marcus, you speaking right to my soul, you speaking right to me, share it with a friend who needs it. Because just like how you needed it, somebody else needs it. Take your flame, go ignite somebody else who you see their flame is starting to go low, right? So that way both of you guys can start burning together. Now, I'm not saying go find people who are all down in the dumps and don't got their flame going, because then you spread your fire too thin. Now you ain't got no fire. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, if you know of somebody who can benefit from this message, if you know somebody who you know would love to hear this message, or would use this and utilize it in their fitness journey, in their business entrepreneurship, in whatever they're going through, share this video, right? Subscribe, leave a review. A review goes a long way. Tag me in a post. You know what I'm saying? Tell the algorithm, yo, my boy Marcus, he got that fire. No pun intended. But until then, I'm going to see you guys on the next episode of In Between Sets. Stay fit, stay focused, keep that fire burning. I'm going to see you next time. Peace. I'm out.
I'ma pull up so lit, I just might crash, dog. Let me take this Balenciaga mask off, then ask y'all, who asked y'all? See, who told me to stomp my ass off.